Hello everybody, welcome back to SportsKhabri. आज का podcast मेरे लिए special है because in today's podcast we will be speaking with someone I personally look up to a lot, Arshi Yasin, the CEO and the co-founder of The Bridge. The Bridge, as we all know, is one of the most successful sport media companies in India right now. Even though our country is a cricket-loving nation, there is scope for other sports and The Bridge has provided them with a platform. Arshi's journey has inspired a lot of us. She's giving us hope. She's proving that there's so much to achieve in this industry. Let's find out how the conversation with Arshi goes. Hi Arshi, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to SportsKhabri.
Hi Akshata. Thank you for having me, and I'm sorry मैंने थोड़ा delay किया, but I'm all yours for the interview.
Thank you so much. No, and not a problem. I completely understand you have a very busy schedule. Arshi, I'll straight away start with the question that I'm most looking forward to, ask you, which is that how did you start this entrepreneurial journey? You do not come with a background where, a business family background. You did your graduation, you worked with multiple brands, then you started your entrepreneurial journey. Tell us how the experience was like, especially because, there's no experience in hand.
Akshata, in hindsight, मुझे लगता है अभी that at times it's good to have no experience. Then you are all in. Like you give your 200% and obviously you evolve, you improvise your skill set in the journey. So you rightly said, मेरा कोई background नहीं है business का, and I think sports, see for the longest time sports को तो as business देखा ही नहीं जाता था, right? किसी को बोलो कि अच्छा, they'll be like, okay, Instagram account चला रहे हो, website चला रहे हो, Facebook चला रहे हो, ऐसा perception हुआ करता था. I mean, seeing sports as a business entity is something which is new, and obviously with Bridge we are in the space of non-mainstream cricket, and उसमें तो और भी था, मतलब when we started obviously it was like कौन पढ़ेगा, skill नहीं होगा and all these things. So see, honestly I did my engineering and उसके बाद I worked. That was the time when rise of social media was happening. I worked in a few organizations where I understood the gap which can be bridged through media, and it is an extremely important pillar of any ecosystem, not just sport, right? Be it, let's take any business, for example, IT or finance or manufacturing. Social media and storytelling is an integral part of any and every business आज के date. So that is something I was like very clear. And honestly, कुछ तो करना था अच्छा life में, and sports is something which has been always very, very close to my heart. And I come from a small town in the country, and हम बड़े होते हैं, lack of exposure and all. तो मुझे लगा कि इसमें कुछ करना चाहिए, इसलिए करना चाहिए ताकि अगर कोई 15 साल की अर्शी इंडिया के किसी कोने में है और अगर उसको 200 मीटर्स भागना है तो वो भाग सके. So that was an overall idea, and started Bridge in early 2018. And एक चीज पता था, मतलब एक बात का ना, वो conviction and self belief था that in the journey I will upskill myself and I will learn, because business is something that it वो naturally नहीं आता था, and it's a lot to do with the upbringing and background. And मेरे घर पे सब लोग सर्विस में है, तो it's honestly मेरी मॉम को आज भी समझ नहीं आता है डिटेल्स में that what I do, right? So why sports is because I like the kick of sport. I like how it makes you a better person. You are a lot more grounded. You don't see failures as failures, right? It can be a bad day and then you know that you have to bounce back. And day one से मुझे इतना तो पता था that entrepreneurship is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So it's a long game, and उसमें लगे रहना है, and obviously there will be ups and downs and all. But yeah, I just kept on doing it. Right team, right vision, and right collaborations, and here we are talking to each other.
Arshi, the Bridge की speciality ये है that you're not focusing on mainstream sports. जो sports जिनको उतना coverage नहीं मिलता, उतना importance नहीं मिलता, उसको the Bridge पे importance दिया जाता है, एक platform दिया जाता है. Of course, in our country there are many such sports. तो जब आपने शुरू किया ये जर्नी, तो ऑफ कोर्स जो हम एक entrepreneurial path पे होते हैं, we have this tendency that we want to do everything, right? We want to do ये भी करना है, वो भी करना है, that वो जोश भी होता है. So how did you pick those battles that, like these are the sports that we limit to? And because, I'm sure that in the beginning there were challenges in the term of, human resources, financial resources, etc. So how did you pick your battles back then?
देखो ये चैलेंज तो आज भी है, ठीक है, एंड आई थिंक ये चैलेंज और 5 साल बाद भी रहेगा. आई डोंट थिंक देयर इज एनीथिंग कॉल्ड एज a perfect goal or a perfect organization, right? Or it will always be a work in progress. So obviously when Bridge we started, we were doing 2 stories a week. Right now we are 20-25 stories per day. So that has been the scale, which is good. Obviously there are so many stories which needs to come out in the open from all parts of the country. And that too, like, I want to all the audience to take note that हम international sports नहीं करते, correct? So that काफी लोगों ने बोला कि ओके आप क्यों चैंपियंस लीग क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो, इंडिया में इतने फैंस है उसके. सो वी हैव बीन वेरी, अक्षता, ऑनेस्टली इफ यू आस्क मी, पिछले ऑलमोस्ट 4 साल के जर्नी में I would say the bridge has been defined by how many times we have said no as compared to how many times we have said yes. As you rightly said कि startup में सब कुछ करने का मन करता है, right? And there are almost 40 plus Olympic sports which we have to cover, and there are challenges like human resources and a lot, infrastructure, etc. So we started with very few, like just to name, racket sports and athletics has always been very close to our hearts, and शुरू से वहाँ पे focus था. But with time we have expanded. जैसे जैसे team बड़ी हुई, now we have started, let's say, अभी handball नहीं आने वाला है. We are talking about handball. We have done so many stories about arm wrestling. Who would have thought कि arm wrestling के बारे में हम बात करेंगे, right? Even other sports like squash or equestrian, for example. So as we speak today, yes, we are covering 40 plus sports, but I still feel that abhi aur bhi bahut kuch karna hai, right? So there is so much to do, and as and when the team will grow, the organization will grow, will keep, and not just how do we pick the type of sport. That is not the only thing. Also, how are we doing the storytelling? For example, textual content is way easier to produce. Not easier, that's not right, but I would say it requires comparatively less funds to execute that as compared to do a good video story, right? So how do we figure out कि अच्छा अगर एक story है तो उसको textual में करना है, video में करना है? How do you measure the ROI, right? That was very, very important. When we started Bridge, initially we were doing more of textual content, and then we figured out that we have to find a balance and focus more on the video and interactive content. So that has always been the case, and I think for any entrepreneur it's very, very important. देखो सबके पास 24 घंटा है, right? सबके पास limited resources है. So how do you prioritize? And now we have reached a point where, let's say, in any quarter or any month, we have we give a goal to ourselves like, okay, ये 5 important project है. अगर वो 5 का 10 हो जाएगा, then obviously the quality is compromised, right? So it's very, very important to pick and say no to certain things. I feel not just in entrepreneurship, generally in life, मुझे लगता है, I'm telling you this from my own journey, that it's very important to know your capabilities, skill set, and whatever resources they are available with you, and do it analysis. No, it's very important. Just put out your thought on a whiteboard. कि ये किया तो क्या लगेगा, क्या नहीं लगेगा, what's the output and how do we go about it. Team strength ये है. Let's say अगर कोई project या कोई story करना है जो मान लो अंडमान में है, right? And you are in Delhi. So उसका मान लो travel cost इतना आएगा, accommodation इतना आएगा. So you have to be very, very calculative that way. And being an entrepreneur, it's important to understand the in and out of everything you do, be it money or non-money. So whatever you're doing, let's say any story or covering any tournament or covering any league, you have to evaluate at the end of the day. No matter, मन तो करता है कि सब कुछ करे, मन करता है कि 10 लोगों को ग्राउंड पे भेजिए and कोई टूर्नामेंट का बहुत अच्छा कवरेज करे, but then it also comes at a cost and time. So we'll have to be very much calculative of that.
Arshi, did you miss having that kind of entrepreneurial experience? Some, of course, there are bad days in every business. Did you miss having any mentor around? And were you able to seek mentors at the right time?
To answer your question, no, not at the right time. But I have learned from my journey, and now I'm better placed to have the right kind of mentors. I feel that I wish ये मेरे first year or second year of entrepreneurial journey में अगर हुआ होता तो better होता. But then it's okay. देर आए दुरुस्त आए, कोई complain नहीं है life से. मतलब it's totally fine. And now I feel when I see the new entrepreneurs who are coming in the ecosystem, and quite a few of them reach out to me also, and I feel good to help. Abhi help ही क्या, just imparting the learnings at the right time is very important, right? Obviously मैं ऐसा कोई बाबा ज्ञानी जैसा नहीं साउंड करना चाहती हूँ, बट ऑनेस्टली हर इंडिविजुअल का अपना विजडम बहुत डिफरेंट होता है, बिकॉज सबकी जर्नी बहुत डिफरेंट होती है, राइट? ऑल्दो यू कैन हैव अ मेंटोर्स, लाइक नाउ आई हैव मेंटोर्स, बट they will navigate. They are not taking the decision on my behalf, right? And eventually, it's my own journey as an entrepreneur. So it becomes very, very important. And also, I feel वो conviction होना चाहिए खुद पे. Whatever decision you take, good or bad, but you have to own your decision. It can go right, it can go wrong, correct? अगर वो wrong हो रहा है, let's say for example, तो I don't think entrepreneurship gives us the opportunity to sit and crib or cry and complain about it. It is a ruthless world, you know. So it's okay if something is not working out, it's not working out. Just make sure that I won't repeat the same mistake again. That's how my approach has been, and I think I'll become better with time.
Arshi, your journey has inspired so many people out there, including me. Of course, the Bridge was also chosen for the Google Women's Focused Accelerator Program. And when I read that news, the first thing that came to my mind was, ये तो पता ही नहीं था कि अच्छा ये भी हो सकता है. This is something also that's available.
Correct.
And I was very happy that day that there's something to look up to, that this can also be achieved, right? And you, of course, have experienced all of it firsthand. So tell us, what was the experience like, and how did it transform you as an entrepreneur? And also, I want to include another question to this, is that, like, you are one of those women who understand what true equality means, like feminism का actual meaning आपको समझ में आता है, राइट? यू आपकी बाकी वीडियोस को मैंने
बहुत बड़े responsibility
नहीं, बट आपकी मैंने जितनी भी वीडियोस या जितना भी कंटेंट आपके बारे में पढ़ा मैंने, वो दिखता है कि आप समझती हैं कि इक्वालिटी क्या है इन ट्रू सेंस. सो कमिंग फ्रॉम दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ अ माइंडसेट, द एक्सपीरियंस आई एम श्योर मस्ट हैव बीन different also, because like to work with fellow women entrepreneurs, to know their journeys and to realize more things. So yeah.
See, there are 2-3 layers to this question. First point is that पता कैसे चलेगा कि ऐसा कुछ accelerator program है, right? I feel that's where mentors play an important role. It's important to and see, ज़रूरी नहीं है कि हम sports में हैं तो mentors sports के ही हो. This is the mistake which a lot of people do, right? Mentors can be from any field, any industry, it doesn't matter. So, like now, let's say if I'm in touch with you and like I know that I'll tell you, Akshata, okay, I think this is, you should go and be there and, pitch SportsKhabri, things like that. So, ये गलती क्या होती है ना? The founders, we just think in a very straight line कि हमें यहाँ पहुँचना है और हम बस दौड़ रहे हैं और भाग रहे हैं और हमें पहुँचना है वहाँ पे, right? And most of the time, especially in the initial year, I'm not saying it's wrong. It's definitely, we are giving 100% of our existence into it, building whatever we are building. So most of the times we keep our focus like this, and we are constantly, working daily operations में involved है, within the team involved है, all these things. But it is very, very important, which I have realized now more so in the last 2 years, that as a founder, you have to keep your eyes and ears open and be involved outside your own company in the industry as well. Only then you will get the perspective, right? See, it is like अपने बच्चे को सभी अच्छा बोलते हैं, right? But then being critical of your own kid is not something which we are trained to think, right? So I feel it's extremely important to once in a while meet with other founders, preferably from your industry, also not from your industry, mentors, I said, even investors. एक और गलती, again, I'm sorry, ऐसा बहुत ही negative interview लगेगा ये that I'm talking about गलतियाँ, but it's not गलती that um, most of the times, let's say we reach out to investors with the intention of getting the fund, correct? Which now I have realized is not the right way. If you are seeking value and if it is working out mutually, then money will follow. But if you are just, and this is in general, forget funding, in general also, let's say, because sales, for example, is an important part, closing deals is an important part. If we are going only with the intention to have a conversation, to take something out of that conversation, I don't think that works. Rather, we should have the mindset of giving. Automatically, wo aa jayega, right? So I feel these are some of the very basic fundas of life जो अब मैं इतने clarity के साथ बोल पा रही हूँ because of my journey. Initially उतना confidence भी नहीं होता है because you are a new player. The industry is quite unstructured and things like that. So this is something which I wanted to share. It has definitely helped me, and I was one among the top 20 out of almost 400 plus applications. So that accelerator program has helped me in a lot of ways. First is the rock solid belief on yourself as an entrepreneur that you can do it no matter what. See, as women, no, we सेल्फ डाउट तो एकदम ही नेचुरली आता है, मतलब भर भर के आता है, जितना नहीं चाहिए उससे ज्यादा आता है, राइट? सो दैट इज वन. Second is obviously the team which Google for Accelerator has and the kind of mentors they have. They invest a lot of time behind you. It's not something जो सिर्फ ऐसे ही कर दिया और हो गया, right? They will guide you. And again, like 20 startups were there. सबकी जर्नी बहुत डिफरेंट है, सबके नीड्स बहुत डिफरेंट है डिपेंडिंग ऑन द स्टेज दे आर, ऑन द इंडस्ट्री दे आर इन. सो let's say for Bridge, like we took help on the UI aspect of it. We took help on how do we, basic questions like product market fit, basic questions like why do we exist, why we do what we do, how can we diversify our revenue, for example, where should our priority lie in terms of these. Like बीच में एक time आया था that we got deviated towards IPL. जब भी IPL आता है ये होता है, right? Because there's so much happening, and again it's mainstream men's cricket. But then, as I said, it's very important to say no. तो वो एक चीज है. And Google or Accelerator also helped in whatever the founders are doing in their respective domains. They have literally taught us to polish our work and how do we present it to the world, right? For various purposes, be it if you want to get an investor on board, or if you want to, even basic questions like, okay, do you want to be a investor-led company, or do you want to be a bootstrap company? What do you want to build? Because the approach will be very, very different. और इनिशियली कुछ नहीं पता होता है. आई एम श्योर तुम्हारे ऐसे बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस होंगे, कौन सा रास्ता अपनाना है, हाउ डू आई गो अबाउट इट, एंड ऑल दीज थिंग्स, एंड इवन द projection, scale, what is the way forward, when is the right time to come up with your mobile app, all these things. Because with every decision as a founder comes a responsibility. It is not about कि decision ले लिया और बात वहाँ खत्म हो जाती है, ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं होता. And then living and owning that responsibility till the final end, but it can go good, it can go bad, right? So that is extremely important. And you also spoke something around equality. Although I just feel sad because the term feminism has been diluted in a lot of ways, especially in this new age media. Lekin I feel there is no denial to the fact that women के लिए challenges ज़्यादा हैं, right? Industry comes later on. I would say the society from where we belong, वहाँ पे ही बहुत ज़्यादा है. So that is the first barrier. And I feel a lot of people tell me that, okay, you are inspiring women to take up sports entrepreneurship and all. Honestly, when I started, in fact, abhi bhi ये मेरे दिमाग में नहीं रहता है that, you know, if I'm doing something, okay, how many girls are getting inspired by it? But I also understand that whatever I'm doing with my life and in entrepreneurship, somewhere it is forming a bedrock of inspiration for other girls, right? Which is extremely important, I feel, because see, role models to chahiye sabko, right? And if we talk about sports also, like sports may, in every sport, let's say if we talk about, अगर रोल मॉडल्स नहीं हैं तो लोग एस्पायर नहीं करेंगे. अगर नीरज चोपड़ा नहीं जीता होता ओलंपिक्स में तो लोग जैवलिन नहीं उठाते. इट इज एज सिंपल एज दैट. That is something which is there. And see, I feel equality का true definition होता है, it's not about कि एक मेल ने 100 kg का डेडलिफ्ट कर लिया तो एक फीमेल को भी 100 kg का डेडलिफ्ट करना है. नो, that narrative is just not right. I feel equality means equality of opportunities. And when I say equality of opportunities, this doesn't mean on the basis of gender. What I'm implying here, that it should be on the basis of skill set. So let's say ऐसा तो नहीं है कि यहाँ रिजर्वेशन सिस्टम है कि 20% or 30% of the employees should be female. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. I still feel the criteria should be obviously skill set, but the problem lies where I see वो जो पहला दरवाजा है ना, वो ही नहीं खुलता है, you know. So I'm here to open that door, and I think सबको वो करना चाहिए. Skill set has no relation with gender, not at all. See, you are interviewing me, Akshata, not because I'm a female founder. You are interviewing me because I'm a good founder who is a female. There's a difference.
That's absolutely correct.
So it's yes, and it annoys me a lot when I see not just founder, even I see female journalists, for example, right? The kind of challenges they face on the ground, the kind of comments जो मारे जाते हैं behind the scene, those are extremely detrimental overall for the industry. In addition to that, वो ना एक लड़की के confidence को खत्म कर देता है. And I feel any human being, वो किसी और का इससे बड़ा नुकसान नहीं कर सकता. किसी और की कॉन्फिडेंस को तोड़ना, बीट ऑफ कोई सा भी जेंडर हो, इट्स नॉट राइट. It's okay. Let's say, if Akshata, I'm not agreeing to something what you're saying, I can say that I disagree to you, right? But if I'm killing your self-confidence, then what kind of human I am? वो बिल्कुल नहीं होना चाहिए. In our team, we have a lot of females. They are not with us just because they are females. They are with us because they are extremely good at their work. And I feel proud to have all these people in my team. And एक और चीज आती है with females, ये होता है कि थोड़ा we talk about safe work culture. That is important. And in sports industry, I feel it is our collective responsibility to build a safe work culture for every gender. ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ female. But females के लिए ये ज़्यादा बोला जाता है क्योंकि it is a male dominated industry. And एक तो, you know, what hurts me a lot, like female workforce is seen as a baggage at a lot of times, especially when you cover events on the ground, right? You have to take care of the safety and all those things. But I totally disagree, and I feel as an entrepreneur, if I'm not in a position to provide a safe workplace to everyone, especially for females, then I have failed as an entrepreneur. So I just don't identify myself with that. It's about what kind of culture you are. And there are a lot of things, no, जो बहुत hush conversations होती है. You know, and obviously there is this entire थोड़ा fear is also into picture, you know, job चाहिए, अगर कुछ बोल दिया तो job नहीं लगेगी and all these things. But for female workforce, I would say, if you really want to fight the sexism that exists in the industry, be damn good at your work. If your male counterpart is giving 100%, you better give 200%. I know it's difficult. I have been doing this. It's difficult, it's exhausting. But then अगर हम नहीं करेंगे तो शायद अगले बहुत सालों तक girls will not dream to do these things, right? Today, Akshata, you have left your job, you have entered this completely new territory. And अगर तुम्हें welcoming नहीं feel कराया जाएगा, अगर तुम्हें support नहीं दिया जाएगा, obviously you will leave and go, which is such a huge loss. I don't want to lose out a brilliant person who is sitting with me entering into this sports industry. And honestly, women are 50%, 50%, or just imagine the talent pool which is there. And if we are saying that, without, I don't scream and tell to the world out there that, yeah, I'm a feminist or मैं झंडा लेके दौड़ रही हूँ. No, I think my actions should speak for who I am, and just being good at what you do, and being little, वो constantly self work करना पड़ता है, because at times the world sees you that you're naive. And the other day I was telling someone, a female acquaintance of mine, she's a junior, that she's very like cute and smile करती है, and मैंने बोला अगले बार बात करोगी ना बिना smile के बात करना, this is very important. So उसको समझ नहीं आया पहले मैंने क्या बोला. मैंने बोला, yeah, see, I know you are a good human, you are skilled, but at times a woman even saying a serious thing with a smile is not seen with seriousness, and that's a problem.
Sports and politics are something that are going hand in hand, unfortunately or fortunately. Of course, we can't make a comment on that. But when you're covering sports such as what you are doing, there are of course a lot of issues that one sees. काफ़ी स्ट्रगल्स हैं, काफ़ी चीज़ें हैं जो बेटर हो सकती हैं, काफ़ी जगहें हैं जहाँ पे फेडरेशंस या पॉलिटिशियंस की वजह से कुछ इश्यूज आते हैं. तो आई मीन like while speaking about these stories, especially in an environment that we are living in today, how difficult is it, and क्या precautions अब आपको ऐसे कभी कभी लगता है कि क्यों हमें इतना precaution यूज करना पड़ता है ये सब लिखने के लिए. Of course ये भी थोड़ा frustrating होता है, right, that you have to follow certain journalistic ethics, but those same journalistic ethics also expect you to question the people who are responsible for such things. So how do you balance all of this?
Yeah. See, media globally is going through a dark time, right? Forget sports, even the mainstream political media is going through a dark time, although I'm no one to comment on that. But उसके चीटे sports में भी आते हैं. So we see, it's honestly, we have to bring in for our diplomacy here, because we are a part of sports industry, correct? And an industry can only grow if we are having a balanced approach of making sure that every aspect is growing. Although we all would love to just go all out and put everything out there, that is more on the activism side, right? And media is a very, let's say, if we only get onto the activism mode and talk about it, that won't solve our vision. Because see, it's a long game, and we have to survive and thrive here doing what we are doing for a longer period of time. So in doing so, let's say there is an investigative story, for example, right? Which you want to do. But you also know that if you do that story, you will have to close down the shop tomorrow. Will you do it?
As an entrepreneur,
I'm sure this is what you are implying.
yeah, as an entrepreneur,
Yes. This doesn't mean that I'm not being true to the vision of the company. See, we have to pick up our battles very wisely. Something like bridge. Like, I'm here to inspire people to know more about sports which are beyond cricket. That is my vision. If I'm confining this to just talk about, what is, a lot of things are going wrong in the industry. That's why we exist. अगर सब कुछ अच्छा हो रहा होता है तो हम कहीं और नौकरी कर रहे होते हैं, right? So it's very important for us to make sure that we form a good community of what we are doing. We encourage more people to consume sports content. We make sure that the non-cricket stories are reaching out across each and every screens, mobile phones जो लोगों के पास होता है. And for that, I think it's very important for any founder to understand the mode you are working on, whether you are an activist or an entrepreneur. Because see, activism में क्या होता है ना, although uh, I don't discourage that, but uh, there aren't strings attached once you do it. There is no stake in the game in terms of, क्योंकि it is also seen कि अच्छा तुमने बता तो दिया कि ये problems है.
Right.
What next? You aren't a part of the solution, right? So rather than highlighting that, okay, these are the problems, ye kharab hai, can we build something together which is a part of the solution and not the problem? So that's what we are implying, and there are so many issues that needs to be addressed. As you rightly said, there is a relationship between sports and politicians. Most of the federations, if you see, the chairpersons are related. They have been into politics and all. That's a larger debate, and that calls for a larger conversation. Although I feel more and more sports persons should be a part of administration in sports. That's what my personal opinion is. But then I think everything comes down to intention. मतलब अगर कोई politician भी है, but अगर उसको sports में change लाना है, तो वो लाएगा ना. It doesn't matter, right? So it's very closely related. But as an entrepreneur, I feel you have to think of the larger goal which you are here for. Yeah.
Arshi, over the years, a lot has changed. You and I almost graduated at the same year, around the same year. You've done your BTech, I've done BCom honors. So, there's just that 1 year gap. So, we are of the same age. A lot has changed over the years. Now I see the younger people who are coming in, they're very much more vocal on social media. They are trying to market themselves much better than what was happening years ago. There are more opportunities. There's more freedom. If 10 years ago I told my dad कि पापा मुझे story cover करने कहीं जाना है, I would not have been given that permission. कहाँ जाओगे? Entrepreneur कैसे? Of course, there were a lot of questions that were asked 10 years ago,
Honestly,
which are not being
spelling
asked
भी
in the
नहीं
same.
आती है entrepreneur की.
True, right? So a lot has changed,
Salman,
and with all the knowledge that you have now, with all that you've seen, and the kind of changes that you're observing now in the system, if you could go back in time and tell some of these things to yourself when you were about to start the bridge, what would you have told yourself?
First thing is follow your gut. कभी झूठ नहीं बोलता वो. This doesn't mean कि foolish होना है, but be very calculative in taking decisions. I think it's very, very important to have the self-belief and following your intuition. That's very important. But then जो intuition building होता है, उसके पीछे का जो story होता है, right? It's very important to always to get the perspective from the other side also, and not just think unidirectionally, right? So that has been my learning. And second thing which I feel which I could have done better is that whatever, see, obviously company chalana is a long-term game, but whatever projects you pick up or whatever ideas you have, whatever pilot projects you want to do, always put an end date to it. Otherwise, वो हमेशा चलता रहेगा. Let's say if I'm working on something right now, it should be very clear to me that okay, April में 2 महीने में मुझे ये करना है. अगर वो ज़्यादा ambitious है तो probably 6 months. But then putting a timeline, and because होता क्या है ना, we put a strategy without a timeline, then it just doesn't work. And sports industry, especially the non-cricket space, because it is so unstructured and honestly, मुझे पूछा जाता है कि ब्रिज का competitor कौन है, like, and I cannot think of single name who is our direct competitor, like exactly हम जो कर रहे हैं वो कर रहा हो. People come up with names, this media house, that media house, but then it's not a direct competition, right? See, that way SportsKhabri and the bridge को भी indirect competitors मान सकते हैं, but we are still having such a good, candid and transparent conversation, because see, the industry can only grow if we are working together. There is no other way about it. And if I'm keeping my thought process इतना shallow that okay, अगर मैं अक्षता को help कर दूंगी तो bridge का नुकसान हो जाएगा, then तो I don't deserve to be a founder, honestly. So ऐसा नहीं होता. This is something. And third thing is upskilling yourself. as a entrepreneur. This is very important. In the initial years, I was a bit slow, but then now, obviously, I have picked up the speed. It's very, very important. And see, it's okay to not be the subject matter expert of everything, right? But it's very important to understand the business of it. It's okay कि हम सब CA नहीं बन सकते. Finance is a very important part. हम सब CA नहीं बन सकते. But then we have to work with the CAs. And if we are completely blind, then though it won't go anywhere. So it's important to understand the basic fundamental pillars of whatever business you are in. And like, for example, sports journalism. I don't identify myself as a sports journalist, although people do, but this doesn't mean that I don't understand sports journalism, right? So it's extremely important. Same goes with, let's say, video editing or podcasting or revenue or collaborations, partnerships. It's important to understand. तो अगर कोई एक चीज है जो मुझे नहीं आता है, so I better put in 3 months of time and become the best at it. And I'll again go back, like, if you are a woman, you have to be 200% at it. So I really want us to reach that day when everything is truly equal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, these are the 2-3 things. And the last thing is that this is more for female entrepreneurs, that अगर कोई बोलता है ना कि नहीं ये तुमसे नहीं होगा, take it as a challenge. ऐसे कैसे नहीं होगा? I am too just fed up of this thing, and not just entrepreneurship, in general in life. अच्छा नहीं ये तो नहीं होगा, ये तो नहीं हो सकता, and all these. So I always wanted to have my own bullet, okay, Royal Enfield, and finally I bought it like last year, and I go out on rides, and obviously there is ratio इतना कम है कि लड़की बुलेट चला रही है तो वो होता ही है. But then the point is, so when I took it, obviously it's a heavy bike, right? And leg strength ज़्यादा चाहिए उसमें अगर तुमको पीछे निकालनी है बाइक को. फर्स्ट वीक मुझसे हो नहीं रहा था. मुझे लगा ओ शिट, मैंने तो पैसे बर्बाद कर दिए, मैंने खरीद लिया बुलेट, अब चलेगी नहीं, कैसे चलेगा ये. एंड देन आई थॉट कैसे नहीं होगा, एंड देन आई स्टार्टेड डूइंग लेग ट्रेनिंग. सो आई बेटर पुट इन द एफर्ट, नो. ऐसे कैसे नहीं होगा, मतलब इंसान ही करते हैं ना, कोई और थोड़ी करता है. So this is something which is very important, again irrespective of the gender. It can happen with anybody कि अगर कोई बोल रहा है कि ये चीज तुमसे नहीं हो पा रहा है, put in effort to gain that skill set. And in this age of internet where most of the information and knowledge is for free, I don't think that's an issue.
Arshi, how do you look after your mental health? Because entrepreneurship is one thing where you do not get any kind of break. Even when you're on a break, you're constantly working, you're constantly stressing about things. And of course, there are certain things you cannot share with people you're working with also, right? If there is a work pressure या काम में कुछ दिक्कत है, आप अगर अपने टीम को वो चीज़ बताएंगे तो of course उनके ऊपर भी वो stress आएगा. It just, kind of trickles down and affects the overall morale of the team. So sometimes you have to go through all of this alone. How do you
Most
look
of the
after your
times,
mental health?
not just sometimes. See, mental health is also something, again, in the first 2-3 years of Bridge, I was also in that zone of working like this, so I didn't pay much attention. But now when I realized it's extremely important, so to acknowledge the fact that entrepreneurship is a long game, it becomes imperative to focus on the physical and mental health. I have seen people not eating on time, not sleeping, surviving with 2-3 hours of sleep. See, you can do that for a day or two, but if you're doing it for constantly 1 year, definitely you will struggle with good health. So mental health and physical health, it goes hand in hand. And इसका भी कोई ना rocket formula नहीं है, इसका कोई formula नहीं है. It's very important to understand that it's a long game, and rather than thinking of growing too fast quickly, we all have to understand that it's important to grow sustainably. Rather than thinking कि अभी 1 साल में unicorn बनना है. We all are seeing so many sad news comes up, right? About health of founders, and cardiac arrest being on top. It's so many 30-year-old, 35-year-old को diabetes हो रहा है, BP issues हो रहे हैं, anxiety management and all. So personally, I have started and it is helping me, Akshata. I think if you're not doing it, you should also do it. Sleep is very important, and eating well is very important. Taking break is extremely important. Extremely. Last 3-4 days, I took break and I was on like complete off. But I also understand that initial years में वो privilege नहीं होता है वो break लेने का, right? But still, I would say if you can't take a 4-day break, no, prioritize 1-day break. But break is break. Like, don't sit with your phone, with your WhatsApp and emails and Slack channels on. वो break नहीं होता. If your mind is working, that's not a break. And when you take a break, like this has helped me, when you take a break and when you take 2 steps back and think about your company from an outsider's point of view, brilliant ideas आएंगे तुमको. और ये भी idea आएगा कि क्या नहीं करना है. So it's again, I think for every founder out there should take breaks and कुछ तो hobby होनी चाहिए. Like मेरा तो जिस दिन ये दिमाग खराब होता है, I just go out for bike rides. I just enjoy. I love playing badminton also. But I do that. I'm not someone की see अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट में मैं अटकी हूँ और अगर वो एक हफ्ते से नहीं सॉल्व हो रहा है, मैं उसमें और 4 घंटा भी सर फोड़ लूँ, वो नहीं सॉल्व होगा. करेक्ट. बेटर शट डाउन योर लैपटॉप, कुछ नहीं तो सो जाओ जाके, एंड देन टेक अ गुड 2 hours स्लीप, गेट अप, देखो फिर फ्रेश ब्रेन कैसे सोल्यूशन आते हैं. So that's very important. Yeah.
Arshi, lastly, one message for all the young women out there who are looking to make a career in the world of sports.
Don't hold yourself back. मुझे किसी और ने भी ये क्वेश्चन पूछा था recently. Don't hold yourself back. मैं ये नहीं बोलूँगी, I won't paint a rosy picture that things will be easy. It won't be. But then take it as a challenge. Like you have to work on... See, if you're looking for a very, comfortable, well-cushioned job in the sports industry, नहीं है. Honestly, ऐसा नहीं है. But at the same time, initial years में struggle ज़्यादा होता है. But with the right strategy in your career, with the right trajectory of your career growth, and again, most importantly, be good at it, whatever you want to do, and constantly see. बहुत लोग क्या होता है, they're very resistant towards changing, right? कि they are like, okay, मैं तो अब तक ये चीजें ऐसे ही करते आ रही हूँ, तो मैं आगे भी ऐसे ही करूंगी. ऐसा नहीं होता है. So you have to be open and just embrace the uncertainty. Not even uncertainty, just embrace the change and the dynamic nature of the work which is there. And especially in media, and if you are only a good writer, it will become difficult in this age of how media functions, right? 20-30 years पहले ऐसा नहीं था. But अभी, if you are a writer, you also be better at coming in front of the camera and talking about the story also. And skill sets improve किया जा सकता है. देखो, अगर intention है तो you can work. So that's not a problem. Yeah. And अगर नहीं है तो फिर reach out करो. We will help you.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. That's how you and I also connected, right? So thank you so much, Arshi. I'm so grateful. I could keep on talking with you because there's so much to learn from our experiences, and it was a pleasure. We initially wanted to speak for 30 minutes, and here we are, you know, been speaking for the last 50 minutes now. So thank you so much. Very, very grateful to you for your time.
Akshita.
And looking forward to meet you in person very soon.
Yeah. Stay connected. Thank you. Have a good day.